Hey.
Hey y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Complex Vintage Shopping. I'm your host Jazzelle, and today I'm here with designer Nicole McLaughlin, and we gonna be popping some tags at the 25th Street Goodwill. So Nicole, can you tell me about how you started getting into designing and upcycling? And
I was working for a company, and it was during that time that I started to see kind of the bad side of fashion. And so I started to just thrift for my own clothes, and then I was like, well, how are these things made? Could I take this apart and remake it myself? And so that's what I started doing, and I realized that thrifting was a better option for me because there's things that have stains and holes rather than getting a brand new roll of fabric without knowing what I was going to do.
Right.
And so I just started to realize the shapes and the colors and the materials were just so good, and I haven't stopped.
When you say you look for things with stains and holes, is that kind of a source of inspiration for you? Does that kind of lead your way on what you're gonna do?
For sure. I think if it has something that's wrong with it per se, for me it's easier to okay, I want to work around that, and I can create a shape that includes that or doesn't include it. And those are the things that wouldn't really get picked up in a thrift store. People wouldn't necessarily always go to something that had a stain on it.
There's been all of the controversy about the gentrification of thrifting, and a lot of younger people going in and reselling on things like Depop and eBay and all of that. I think that the way that you do it, you kind of take the things that are less loved and have the stains and the holes that no one's really gonna buy. I think that that's an amazing take on that.
Thank you. Yeah. And I mean, I think that there's a balance because we definitely need to keep thrift stores for the people that really truly need them.
Yeah.
But also there is so much. We have wasted and have made so much clothes in the world. And we definitely need to try to find ways to shop and buy things that are secondhand without, sacrificing people's resources.
It's also just nice to shop somewhere where there isn't 25 of the same thing on one rack,
Exactly.
It really gives you your own individuality.
That's what I feel with thrifting too, for your own personal style, you'll always have an outfit that's different than everybody else's. And I thrifted as a kid actually, and my sister, she's into vintage as well. She runs a vintage store in New Jersey. So yeah, I mean, I think her and I have always had an appreciation for it, and we both have an appreciation for making things, so it kind of just worked out really well.
Can you tell me more about how the actual upcycling process works when you're making your pieces? Where are you sourcing your stuff from? What happens to them after?
Coming to a thrift store is a really great start for me if I'm just trying to get inspiration, because I mean, all the material I could want is here.
Yeah.
And so honestly, the materials, the colors, the fabrics, everything will really dictate what the piece is. And so for me, I just love to take just a regular piece of clothing and then start to just drape it on myself and shape it and kind of see what it does. And if there's anything on it that I'm oh, I want to highlight this, I like the branding, I like the pockets. And so yeah, I mean, from there, just kind of build it out, and I'll take things apart as I'm making it and try to form it into other things.
Yeah.
And then with the final pieces, I really just photograph it.
Yeah.
And then I take it apart.
Oh, great.
So
so what happens? You just save the materials then?
Yeah, and so I have now a material library, and so I can continuously upcycle my upcycled pieces. So everything will just always continue to live. See, so I like this piece a lot because I like the puffer material of it. I think this rib on the side is really nice as well. And there's just a lot that I could work with it. The color's a little bit not for me, but I think that if I worked it into maybe, I don't know, a black or a blue or something with it, it might kind of balance it.
Do you dye materials too?
I've definitely tried before. I'm not the best at it, but I think that there's natural dyes that I love trying to work with.
Right.
I was using berries and stuff to try
Oh my
to dye
God,
stuff,
that's so
which is cool.
cute. Off the top of your head, like what would you do? Like what do you see for this piece?
Yeah, so I will take like, just kind of look at it, but I see like almost having this piece here be like a pocket.
Cool, like on the
a
shoe?
Yeah, so you can make almost, you know, like the North Face, like thermoball slippers,
Yeah.
like the puffy ones. So you have that there, and then you can
Oh my
put
God,
some
that's
stuff
amazing.
in it.
I've seen that you're the new brand ambassador, or the first brand ambassador at Arc'teryx, right?
Yeah, the first design brand ambassador, which is
Okay.
like really crazy because like all their actual ambassadors in the past have been like professional athletes, and then there's me on the sewing machine.
Oh wow, I
So-
love that. That's amazing.
But it's been so cool because like they're trying to find ways that they can like take their used product, their used gear. So if something like, you know, goes wrong on your mountain trip and you get like a hole in your jacket, you can send it back to them and they can try to repair it. And
Oh,
if
wow.
they can't repair it, they're trying to keep all those jackets and find different ways to upcycle them in like a larger scale. So for me, like I'm only one person and I can upcycle, you know, just a handful of things. Whereas like a bigger company can take in like all their return product, all their damaged gear, and upcycle that into something new. So
Yeah.
I'm helping them with that. I'm helping them with some design stuff.
That's amazing.
But yeah, it's super cool. I feel really lucky to be able to work with them. We have a workshop that's coming in early October, and so it's really just like a design academy for people to come in and learn how to upcycle things.
Oh, amazing. So
Which
they can
is-
do it themselves
Yeah,
too.
and so I mean, a big part of what I do is like the education part of it is like teaching people like all the things that I've learned while making things. Like, can I teach people how to do this themselves? And like, I think upcycling could be a more widespread thing that not just people but brands and like everyone could get involved in. So
Yeah.
that's really the goal with it.
You like specialize in footwear. I've seen you make a lot of really cool shoes.
This is kind of my roots in terms of like when I started in the fashion industry, like I was so interested in sneakers and how they were made. Like it's kind of mysterious. Like not
Yeah.
a lot of people know how their sneakers are made. There's been such a rise in sneaker culture, obviously. And so like I was so curious and started wanting to like make them myself, which was really difficult. And
Yeah, I bet.
and I learned really quickly like that it's not super easy, but it is very rewarding when you can make a shoe that you could wear and that functions.
Do you rework shoes, or like because I've seen you kind of like completely remake them, or maybe they're being covered. There's mystery happening.
Honestly, shoes are like fair game for me. So like I'll take apart shoes, take the uppers off, use that for things, and then use the soles for like footwear projects.
Yeah.
And like completely go like blank off of it.
So you kind of like deconstruct and then rebuild.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, so I always am looking for like really fun colors. So I think this is probably a really good one.
Love.
I love an Asics. I love like running shoes because some like the sole.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, there's always like really cool things about them. They don't always smell that great, so love to like wash them down. But I think Goodwill does a really good job at like cleaning things and you know doing that beforehand.
Can you tell us what we can look forward to?
Yeah, so I mean definitely the workshops. I
Yes.
think for people to come if you want to learn how to make things, I think that would be really great. I have actually 2 coming in October.
Yay.
One with Arc'teryx and one with Puma.
Amazing.
And then, I mean, I definitely have some things that are gonna be sold that people can purchase that are upcycled. And then I do a lot of like raffles that are meant for charitable donations. So I do those pretty much every month where people could put their money in for a raffle and then hopefully you'll get picked and all the proceeds will be donated to various different charities that we pick.
She don't stop. She don't stop, y'all. Well, keep an eye out on Nicole McLaughlin and all of the fun things that she got going on. All right, well, let's find these polo tees.
Yes.
So the great thing about Goodwill is that it's all donation based, but then that also leaves me to authenticate pieces myself. So we have that I found this Moschino pink turtleneck with the little heart, but I honestly have no idea where this is from, when this is from. So I'm just gonna take a stab at it. So we see we obviously have the Moschino tag.
You can always just look, make sure the stitching is right on the tags.
Moschino is made in Italy, so I'm gonna try to find somewhere that says that in here, maybe. But who knows? Maybe the person who donated this thought the tag was itchy and ripped it out. I do that sometimes too. I feel you, sis. I have these bags that I found here that have just come in through donations. And through the process that Goodwill uses, they usually send them off-site to be authenticated. But just off first look, we can tell that this Chanel bag is very much so fake because it has a ton of imperfections, and Chanel bags have 0 imperfections. So this is fake. Also, this Balenciaga bag that we're thinking is real, just because at eye view, the stitching looks to be correct.
So it's like they can get the colors perfectly, the leather perfectly, but the stitching will be off.
And anything that does prove to be a true original and is authenticated will be on shopgoodwill.com. So check it out, get your pieces, discount prices. Okay, so we're ready to check out, but let's go through what you got first.
So I ended up actually keeping this one because I think that I can use it for some type of slipper because of the puffy material. Love the pocket.
Too.
So I got this Eastern Mountain Sports shirt. So I know it's very dad, but I think that I could either wear it and just like crop it and kind of make it a little bit more for me. But also, I mean, I think it's kind of cute if I did some type of like short with it, kind of like a boxer short-esque type. I found a bunch of polo shirts, and there was still a ton of dress shirts there that I could have kept going, but these will all work really nicely into, I think, a pair of pants.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna work in like the branding, some of like the pocket details. And then I just got 2 shirts for me, and like, as I said, I'll probably wear them for a little bit and then turn them into something later down the line.
I love it. This one is so cute.
Yeah.
So your total is going to be $71.91 today, okay?
Okay.
71.
Cha-ching. Well, thank you so much for being with us on another episode of Complex Vintage Shopping. Should we get out of here?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes, let's go. Bye, y'all.